Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Tamara Temu Collective, where dreams have no filter. So we are continuing on with the series on creativity and why creativity is necessary and the benefits. So this is part 3. No, this video is part 4. We're moving through this pretty quickly. So in this video, I want to talk about another benefit of creativity and how it can remove that tough exterior that many of us grow into as we move into adulthood. Okay? Now, notice I said grow into, because we do not show up in this world with that tough exterior. From my experience, from my perspective, having that tough exterior is learned. It's adopted. It's programmed. For some of us, it's programmed intentionally. For some of us, it's an indirect, unintentional programming. It's something that we adopt. It's actions that we saw adults around us take, and we took that to mean we have to be tough. For example, if you can remember a time where, perhaps you were playing outside, you fell, you scraped your knee, hurt your knee, or just you were simply just afraid. Maybe you did not get physically hurt, but the fall, if you fell, the fall scared you. And so you naturally started to cry, and maybe someone said, no, you're okay, just dry your face. That is an example of unintentional programming, because that adult or that person didn't say to you, no, you have to be tougher, you have to be a tough person. They just said, no, you're okay, dry your face, which in fact you were not okay. Maybe physically there was no scar left there, but emotionally you were shaken for whatever reason. That's an example of unintentional programming. Or some of us, our adults in our lives may have told us, oh, you have to be tougher. You have to be strong. That's an example of intentional programming. Now, whether those adults at the time, when we show up into the world, we don't come with a manual, so parents have no clue. Also, I'll even go even further, like when we first get here and, you see babies, think about a time when you had a brand new baby in your family, the baby gets older, baby starts to realize that they really don't want to go to sleep. So they fight their sleep and they, either cry or just whine and fuss. And how many times have you heard, well, just let the baby cry. They have to learn how to comfort themselves. Now, maybe this is a personal thing, but I've never agreed with that statement. I've never agreed with that idea. I don't know where the idea came from, but it came from somewhere, but I wish we could put it in the trash can forever. Okay? But even as far back as being a baby, that is part of intentional program or unintentional programming, indirect programming. So then, if we can fast forward this, we go through, adolescent, teenage years, we become an official adult, you get those first few bills in your name. Your credit profile gets created, however you want to mark adulthood. Then we hear, not only do we now have this tough exterior, then to pile on top of that, then we have the work hard theory. We have the, if you work hard, you might achieve one thing. If you work hard, then you might achieve this. Well, you have to work hard in order for your achievement to mean anything, or you have to work hard for a bunch of years to see success, whatever success image that you created for yourself or someone else gave to you. So during that whole time, all these adult years that we've lived, we don't realize that we have that tough exterior. And you may be asking, well, how do I know if I've been carrying a tough exterior, which is a beautiful question. And that's when creativity comes in. And before I get to that, here's an example. If you're asking yourself that question, well, I don't know, if I'm being tough. And a lot of times you don't know because, again, when it's an idea that's programmed, you don't know what you don't know. So, but here's a little example. It may sound silly to some of you, but I want you to think about the last time you heard something that was funny. You heard something that was funny to you. And rather than allowing yourself to be free to laugh, you muffled your laugh. You put your head down instead of just throwing your head back and smiling and allowing yourself to have an expression of joy. Because really that's what laughter is. It's an expression of joy. It's an expression of fun. That's what it is. I want you to think about that. Now, perhaps the last time you did that, maybe you saw something funny in church. Or maybe you saw something funny at a funeral. Now, I will say, depending on who you're sitting next to, depending on, who you're sitting next to, who you go to the church or a funeral with, and then depending on who the deceased person is, it may be acceptable to throw your head back and laugh out loud. Okay? So I say that for any of my friends who are watching this, you know who you are. I've been in that situation, okay? But anyway, I digress. But just going back to, just think about a normal situation. You're maybe in a restaurant, you're in an airport, you're at the store, you were talking to somebody, something was funny to you, but you didn't allow yourself to be free to express your laughter. That could be an indication that perhaps you are bracing yourself because of how you've been programmed to be tough, to be closed in, to be not so free to express yourself. Now, this is where creativity can help with that. When you are doing something creative, There's no, you're not in your mind. You're not worrying about, well, what are people going to say? Are people going to think I'm too loud? You're not thinking about any of that because your entire being, your entire body is focused on self-expression, because that's what creativity is. Then once you get into the habit of just allowing yourself to be expressed through your creative project, or whatever it is that you're working on, to just think differently about your life and just to help you open your eyes, then you take what you've applied to that creative project, and then you start to integrate that way of being in all other aspects of your life. Then you start to feel, what's the word I want to use? You start to feel lighter. You start to be more expressive. You may find yourself smiling more. Your laughter will be more expressive because you're not trying to hold back anymore. You won't find a need to have or to be tough or to have a tough exterior. So that is part 4. If you have any questions about any parts of this series, please don't hesitate to leave a question in the comments. Again, thank you for subscribing. Share this with another adult who is just bottled up inside, I guess is the phrase. That's the only phrase I could think of at the moment. But just share this. And until next time, until part 5, cheers.